Hello everyone, we are back for another video. This is going to be a rapid video. I'm going to play a rapid 10 plus 5 or 15 plus 10 game and then analyze my thoughts after. With that being said, without further ado, let's jump right into it here. So I'm actually going to play a 15-10 because I want to get a little bit of a longer game, a clean chess game where I can analyze and cleanly and clearly articulate my thoughts, such as why I'm making certain moves, go over calculation lines, go over my candidate moves, go over what the opponent wants to do, what are the opponent's threats, what are my threats, etc. So cool, we get a game pretty quick. Usually it takes longer. I'm playing a 2148. My rating is 2281 here, rapid rating. Ivan Tree 1 from somewhere. Okay, so with this move he wants to play what is this called? The Jobova London with d4 and a quick knight c3. Let's play d5 to stop e4. I don't know the theory here, so I'm this is what I know. I know to stop e4, and he plays it anyway, so I'm guessing this is some gambit line, or he's going to regain the pawn. I'm completely on my own here, folks. Let's take the pawn. Take her. Good thing it's a 15-minute game. We have time. Okay. So he's hitting the knight, removing the defender, right? He wants to take and then take the pawn. If I play, let's look at candidate moves. If I play knight c6, applying immediate pressure on d4, I guess he can defend it with knight e2. So I'm going to think for a little bit here. Actually, bishop g4. So candidate knight c6. Now knight c6, pawn d5, knight e5. Looks okay. Knight in the center. Knight c6, bishop g4 comes to mind. Bishop g4 definitely comes to mind, and a quick e6. And then maybe pawn c5 or knight c6. So bishop g4 looks to be most promising because the knight's not a pure pin. Bishop g4, if bishop takes f6, I have the in-between. Of course, I take his queen, I win. So bishop g4, I'm expecting either a block or pawn f3. Pawn f3, I take and I win a pawn. So I'm going to play bishop g4. I like the look of this move, folks. Getting the bishop outside the chain, simple enough. I want to play e6 next. I'm expecting gambit style. f3 would be consistent with the way he's playing this. So I wouldn't be surprised just to gain time, right? Because take, and then he could take with the pawn and gain more time. And that seems to be consistent with what he's doing. I'd be very happy to see bishop e2. I think pawn f3 or knight e2 is to be the two moves, the two only moves I see that make sense. Actually, maybe queen here. So pawn f3, queen d2, and knight e2 are the moves that I see. Bishop e2 doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, if he lets me trade his attacker, happy to do that. Okay, so here. So now if I play pawn e6, I'm noticing he can just take with the pin. But I might just want to give him that pawn back. But do I have better? Actually, if I take, I still can't take. I do want to play e6. However, he does get the pawn back. If I play bishop here, he just kicks with the tempo and wins the pawn anyways. So he's going to get the pawn back. It's not a pure gambit. So what I'm trying to decide on here is if I want to try to hold on to the pawn and be greedy, or if I just want to continue my development with a move like e6 and just give him the pawn and just say, let's play chess. Just develop naturally. e6, knight takes e4, bishop e7. Excuse me. Okay. I'm going to be a little quiet here and think what I want to do. First of all, okay. Knight c6 doesn't look half bad. Because, I don't really know if the knight wants to go there, though, but it applies pretty immediate, not immediate pressure, because I'm not threatening to take on e2, because bishop takes. His c knight can replace that, and technically he's still defending the pawn, but it's a move. Pawn c5, have we considered that? Let's look at pawn c5. Pawn e5, no, pawn c5, he just takes, doesn't help me much. He could just take it, and then I take his queen, and he takes with the rook, and it helps his rook develop. Yeah, I'm really leaning toward pawn e6 right here. Here are the reasons why. I don't know this line. I don't know the theory. I don't know any theory here. I'm completely on my own. And when I'm completely on my own, I tend to just want to deviate to something simple. Because I don't want to lose I don't want to lose the game in the opening. I don't want to lose the game on theory because I don't know some obscure theory or some theory that my opponent knows. So, with that being said, pawn e6 is the safe move. He wins the pawn back, which he's going to win back anyways. And then after knight takes, I can just develop. Let's play pawn e6. I'm not going to get into trouble here and spend more time, and I don't know this position. So it's not a familiar position, and it might seem a little cowardly, but it's not cowardly. I don't see how to defend the pawn. Bishop f5, and he's going to win the pawn back by force. So this seems like the most logical move. The bishop's outside the chain. I'm expecting, he could take the pawn whenever he wants it. I'm going to play bishop e7 and just block the pin pretty quickly. So knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes. And then after that, I can castle short, or I can go quick knight c6 and castle long is an option, putting immediate pressure with the queen on f6, the knight on c6, and the rook that'll be on d1 after castle long. It's an option, something to consider. And with that knight in front of the c-pawn, so the drawback of this arrangement, the drawback of putting the knight in front of the c-pawn and d-pawn openings is the d-pawn becomes weak. As you can see, it can't easily be protected by a pawn, which takes time unless he moves the knight and then pushes the pawn up. So it takes time, which I guess he can do. He can just take on e4, e4, bishop e7, swap, and play c3. But then that gives me, I could play castle and play c5 in the future. So this is just a chess position. This is what I want. Castle, c5, knight c6, with my knight behind the c-pawn, which I always want to do, the most fundamental thing in d-pawn openings. Instructive thing. So now he's spending some time because he probably expected something else. So how is this likely to proceed? Either knight takes e4 or queen takes d2 are the two moves that just seem most natural for him. Knight takes e4 is the obvious move. Queen d2, just preparing long castle. Based on this structure, they typically want to go long pretty quickly. From what I've seen, that's what they want to do a lot of times, and just try to kill you. But e6 is a pretty safe move, so I'm not scared of him trying to kill me on the king side if I castle king side. Because I'll have a pretty quick queenside attack. Not pretty quick, but it'll be the same speeds. And I'm pretty confident with my calculation abilities. So I'm not scared of that. And so his knight's let's look at the position. His knight's a little misplaced. His knight's in front of the c-pawn. It's misplaced, like I said. And this knight's misplaced. It's blocking the bishop. So he's got some coordination issues with these two knights, the two ponies, and the bishop. Whereas me, my bishop's perfectly harmonious outside the pawn chain. My other bishop can swing out somewhere. I could play pawn c5 and knight c6. So I'm liking my position. In short, my position just seems more harmonious than White's. It's not an advantage, though. It's probably equal because he can win the pawn back. Maybe even White's slightly better or equal. But it's a chess position I like to play. What I'm saying is I like to play chess positions. I don't want to play theory. That's the last thing I want to do when I play chess. I do not want to lose out of theory in the opening. I want to play chess. I don't want to lose from theory, which everyone's done before. Every chess player has lost in the opening and just got brutally punished because of some weird theory. So I want to take this out of a theoretical battle and more into playing the game of chess, playing actual chess, which I tend to excel at and be pretty good at. So with that being said, let's wait for him. Time's evening out here. Not a factor. It's a 15 plus 10 game, so not really going to be a factor in an online game. Not much of it at all unless we get to a time scramble. Not expecting time to be a factor here at all, though. So as they slay, As they say, slow and steady wins the race. Yeah, knight d7. I could even play knight d7 if I want to be super safe. But no, bishop b7 is fine when he takes the pawn. And then I'm probably going to castle short here. Maybe castle long. I think I'm going to retain the flexibility of castling long. So I'm not going to castle immediately. If knight takes e4, bishop here, and a bunch of swaps, I'm not going to castle immediately because I might want to play a quick c5, knight c6, and castle long. Okay. Sorry about the voice crack. Okay, so h3. I could save time just for time purposes take, but then I give up the bishop pair. I don't really want to give up my light square bishop for no reason. Or I could just defend the pawn. This is a clever move. If I go here, he might play a quick g5 and accelerate his kingside attack because he's assuming I'm going to castle kingside, which I might not actually do. I might castle queenside. You know what? Let's save the bishop and defend the pawn. I'm expecting either g5 or knight g3. Knight g3 is consistent with the tempo. And then I'm going to pull the bishop back. Okay, g5 too. And I'm going to pull the bishop back. I'm expecting there's even h4 here. In which case, I could play h5 or h6 after h4 if he elects to go that way. Now I'm probably going to castle queenside because he's got like a ready-made attack already ready to go. Bishop g2 helps. Oh, that's clever. That is clever. That's actually a better move because now when he plays here, if I play here, he completely ruins my pawn structure. That's nice. It's a clever move. I might want to play c5 here. Yeah, I might want to play c5, but then bishop b5 check. c5 because it puts immediate pressure on the d-pawn, which I like. It sharpens things up a bit. I'm in trouble if I just let this kingside madness happen. So c5 if he takes, I'm going to swap the ladies and play bishop b4, try to hang on to the pawn, and maybe he'll play h4 and we'll get some craziness. I really like the look of c5. c5, bishop b5, I'm not scared. I just play knight not knight d7, just knight c6. And I'm still threatening the pawn. I'm going to play c5. I really like the look of this move. I'm happy to trade queens. He's got a ready-made attack. I'm getting a little scared. I'm not scared, but just a tiny bit worried. Getting a tiny bit worried if I castle kingside. Especially because this is a clever move, knight f4, because after h4, if I play the natural h6, he's got this thematic knight takes on g6, completely ruining my structure and making this e-pawn permanently weak and these two pawns doubled, if you could visualize that. Yeah, so I like c5 a lot. Bishop b5 is a move to consider, but just knight c6, there's no follow-up here. Just knight c6, and the threat's still there. You can never push here. I guess he can push there. Maybe I should have considered that. If he pushes there, I'm just going to take with the pawn. And if knight takes, I'm just going to play bishop block. Yeah. It's getting really sharp now, though. This is these Jobava Londons. So I don't know. Anything can happen here. Bishop e5. Knight c6. If he takes, I would swap the queens and take the pawn back. And then h4. h6, takes. Yeah, I'm up a pawn, but they're really horrible pawns. So I can't be much better there at all, probably. Maybe. Not sure. I don't know. It's a crazy position. I like pawn c5, though, a lot. Hit him while it hurts, because he's playing a lot of pawn moves. Pawn g4, pawn h3, with tempo, though, but this one's not like knight here. He's playing a lot of moves. And I've played pretty principally so far. I've played very principally. Bishop g4, back, pawn e6. I've taken the pawn. So c5, the point of c5, I want to hit him while he's weak. He is not developed yet. Now, rightly so, I'm not either. I'm not castled either, but he spent some time. I want to hit him while it hurts, while he's still not castled, and open things up right now. I don't want to wait for him, for his plans. I want to dictate the play and make my plans. So that's why I play pawn c5. Candidate moves for white. Bishop b5. Pawn h4, full steam ahead, which doesn't seem to work. I mean, I could just take the pawn, and if he plays here, I just take a piece. He takes a piece. Now I can't take because the pin, if I take this way, there's knight. Clever with the pin, so So there's pressure on g6. I have to be wary of that. With that being said, there's always also bishop g2, but I think he wants to go, I'm pretty sure he wants to go queenside. I mean, with these moves, almost 100%. So, like queen d2, but now we can't do it. It's a little slow now, right? So c5 looks to be good. So if he makes a nothing move like a3, what do? Take. Yeah, just take. So he's got to address this tension somehow. Probably with the in-between check on b5. Just to speed up his development, really for development purposes, and because I'm a little pinned up here, I'll have two knights being pinned up. It's a little bit uncomfortable for me. He's got this, so I got to really have a concrete calculation. Yep, and I'm going to play knight c6 quickly. I've got to have a concrete calculation here to figure this out, because he's got me a little pinned up here. I'm expecting d5. d5 might be good for him. Let's calculate d5. d5. With no arrows now to practice our visualization. d5, pawn takes d5, c knight takes d5. I gotta play bishop b7 with the. I mean, I don't have to, but okay, bishop b7, knight takes knight. There. All the trades super favor me because I'm still up a pawn here, right? So, yep, and d5 as expected, immediately take. This is all what I calculated. These are all the most logical, normal moves. Normal and logical, big time edge here for me. Expecting c knight takes on d5. Only move that makes sense here. So after c knight takes on d5, he's threatening this. So I'm going to play quickly, unless I'm missing something. Let's take our time. Yeah, let's quickly block the pin. And now threaten knight takes. Because if knight takes, we win a piece. So knight takes, and then if bishop takes, our knight comes back with the tempo. I mean, with the usual tactic, we win a piece. So if he does nothing, but he's gonna take the bishop or take the knight. Now, if he takes my bishop, I could take the queen. I help his rook though, and then I take with my king. Yeah, my king's in the center. Actually, no. There's the other knight, and I'm pinned. So maybe that's not good. Yeah. Okay, so I have to be a little careful. Knight takes. I'll probably just take with the queen. No, but then the other knight. It's a little tricky. I mean, this is a complex position. If knight takes, I could even just take with the king. No, because then the other knight. Again, the other knight comes in with check, and I'm pinned. Stupid pin here. Very annoying pin here. So maybe he's going to take the... If he takes the knight, I'm happy, because then... Knight takes f6, check, bishop takes f6. And a lot of pieces are going to be getting traded. And since I'm already up a pawn, I really favor trades. And my king might be getting under an attack. He's not castled either, so pros and cons. Looking good, but I need to calculate very concretely and accurately here. There's also, I have queen a5 maybe. One day. Just something to consider. Queen a5. So he's doing a lot of thinking here. My threat is takes the knight, and I'm going to win a piece because if I take on d5, if he takes my bishop with his bishop, so knight takes d5, bishop takes e7, my knight comes back around. I actually won a nice tournament game against a 1700 a few years ago when I was lower rated, like 4 or 5 years ago, where I had this same tactic. I think it's called the rotating knight or something like that. So I take a piece, he takes a piece, my knight saves itself and comes back and recaptures his piece, and I'm up a piece and winning. Yeah, expected. I think this is the best move because if I take, I help his rook. Yeah, I get the queens off, but then when I take with the king, he has the other knight. So, yeah, this is a good move. I have to calculate here. I'm going to be quiet. Not going to be able to castle. So if I take with the queen, queen takes. Most concrete forcing move first is queen takes queen. Rook takes queen. King takes knight. knight d5, king e8. No, he wins a pawn, but yep, knight takes f6, check, pawn takes. Yeah, he wins a pawn and has a massive position there. So that's not going to work. So queen takes e7, knight d5. I'll come all the way back. I'll just come queen takes e7, knight d5, queen d8, all the way back. And then I'm threatening the knight, because then I'm hitting the knight with the queen in my knight. Oh, it doesn't work. Queen takes e7, knight d5, queen d8, knight takes f6 check, pawn takes f6, queen takes d8, rook takes d8, and bishop takes f6. He wins his pawn and a pure exchange plus more because I'm pinned. Yeah, he's completely winning. Knight takes e7 is a really good move. It's the best move. Am I in trouble here? Let's see. Queen takes queen. Because I'm all pinned up. Again, like I said, the source of my problems is I'm all pinned up. This knight's pinned, and this knight's pinned. That's the big issue for me right here. So king takes immediately. No, knight there again. I think I see a move though. Queen takes e7, knight d5, queen e5. I'm hitting the knight, his knight on d5. I'm defending my knight on f6 and my pawn eventually, and I'm defending the c7 square. And then bishop f4, I just take a piece. Pawn f4, I just take a piece. Knight takes f6. Pawn takes f6. Pawn f4, I take en passant. He can't even play pawn e4, I take en passant. Okay. So queen takes. Knight d5, only logical move. Queen e5 might be the move. I'm hitting everything. I'm hitting b2. I'm protecting the f6. I'm protecting the critical c7 fork check square, most importantly. I'm hitting the b2. I'm hitting the knight. I'm threatening the knight on d5 immediately. If he takes with check, I take with the pawn. And I gain a tempo. I guess he's got bishop h6 there, but then I can go. I can't castle long, can I? But then I can take on b2. Yeah, and it's follow. When I take on b2, I'm hitting the bishop and threatening a check. Let's play this. I haven't calculated everything. I can't spend more time. I don't want to spend more time. I'm expecting this pretty quickly. Knight d5. My counter is this: queen e5. I think it covers everything. Not 100% sure, but it looks on first glance and a few calculations, a few times I've looked at it, to cover everything. I'm just noticing now, I also hit the bishop. I hit the knight and the bishop, so he's got to do something. I protect. So then maybe knight takes or bishop takes, but then I just take with the pawn. I'm really good. I'm really fine there. And there's no pawn f4 because en passant check. That's really rosy right there. So, yeah, queen takes. I've got rook d1. I've got rook d8, sorry, when I want it. With a tempo. I've got just pawn. Well, not yet, but I've got that one day. Because of this. I probably wouldn't mind that. I'm still up a pawn. Yeah, I don't think I'd mind that. I just want to get rid of that pin. But I guess he can always hold off. Bishop h4, he can hold the pin for a long time. So castle short probably, because he's lost some firepower with one trade of pieces. So I'm not so afraid of an attack. He's still got the queens on the board, and he's still got the rook on the h file. He hasn't castled yet. Let's see where he does. Let's stop talking and just see what he does here. I think he might see knight d5, queen e5, because he's taking a long time here. Queen e5 is a beautiful centralization queen move. I'm so happy I found that. That's a move in the past I wouldn't have found, but since I'm slowing down, I find it. So it's a beautiful looking move. Queen e5. Just holding everything, covering everything, hitting everything with tempo, hitting the knight, threatening the knight on d5, threatening the bishop on g5, hitting b2, which hits the bishop, covering c7. It just enables everything, and it just forces mass liquidations because it forces trades. He's got to do something about the knight or the bishop, so it forces a take on f6, whether with the bishop or with the knight, which is which is favorable to me. I'm up a pawn here, and I'm getting attacked. I'm getting attacked here probably. So with the attack and me being up a pawn, yeah, I want to trade. I want to do everything I can to trade, of course. Just follow basic chess principles. And I'm kind of saying some of this stuff, which is common sense for you guys, for the viewers, but also to reiterate to myself, but more so for the viewers here, which is why I'm kind of making some common sense acknowledgments and common sense observations about the position, which if I'm playing a game, I would never say, of course. I don't talk if I'm playing chess. I would just play and notice it. But it's cool. I think it helps a little bit to articulate it. I think it does. So hopefully this channel makes me a better chess player. I think it will, but hopefully it does. We'll see. Only time will tell, I guess. So he's under 2 minutes, and he plays pawn h4. I could play this. I could play h6, but then there's the take, and he does ruin my structure. Not the end of the world, though. Yeah, not the end of the world. I need to address the bishop right now or after. So let's see. Should I throw rook d1 in first or not? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. h6 forces take, and then it just forces mass liquidations, right? h6, knight takes g6, f takes g6, and then no, the bishop could pull back. Okay, the bishop can pull back. So it doesn't. Let's throw rook d1 because it stops him. It gains a tempo and it stops him from going long. So it's a good move. Rook d1, queen e2 is going to be played pretty quickly. Or do I play rook? Yeah, let's throw this in pretty quick now. Let's rook d1. I covered the square even more, so it can't be bad. It's only good. Getting a tempo. This will be played pretty quick. Yeah. And then now I got to figure out what to do with this boy, with this guy right here. Only move I see is so h6, knight takes g6. I can't take, unfortunately, because he's hitting the rook. So h6, knight takes g6. F takes g6. I've got the pawn on h6, g6, and g5 and g7. h6, g6, and g7, and then bishop takes. I'm going to take with the pawn. Wait, let me visualize this. Yeah, I'm going to take with the pawn. That's funny position. My pawn's on h6, g6, and f6. Very funny looking position. Funny pawn structure. Yeah, because I want to hold on to this pawn, of course. So let's play this and force the trades. So let's pre-move this move. This is good. It only helps me. Again, I'm up a pawn. So all the trades favor me. Not winning for me, but it's a step in the right direction. It's a concession for him, for sure. I've won the opening battle. See, sometimes just playing good, simple chess gets you there. Oh, I've even got this one day with hitting this, but more importantly with this, if I can get it. This is interesting. So if I can castle quick, I've got a really powerful tempo here, which not only threatens a big fork on c2, it threatens this, which is huge, stopping him from castling it. Then I create my own attack with queen e5 and then a mate if he goes kingside with the knight planted on f3. So a lot of good stuff here. And then if he takes to save time, I'm going to recapture, of course. Pre-move this with the g pawn, and again, like I said, I get the pawns just like I visualized on h6, g6, and f6. So let's pre-move with the f pawn. Pre-move the capture. Bishop takes f6, g takes f6, and then we castle, and then we've got a great position here. Good position. Castle short, probably next move. What else can he play? Can he play bishop? I mean, he's also got bishop e3, but I think just for time, he probably wants to play Yeah, takes, save time. And then again, see the benefit of this move? He can't castle long. And he's super exposed kingside. So he's probably got to go kingside to coordinate, but then he's really exposed. And I'm going to go kingside. They look weak, but it's perfectly fine here. It's safe with the queen, the rook, the king here. There's little pieces on the board now. Castle kingside, and then a quick knight d4, my next move. Yeah, he does this. But now I'm going to play this quick. If he takes, I'm going to recapture with my other rook and help me out. Yeah, this is good. Okay, that's good. He damages my structure, so yeah, I really want a knight d4. That's the best move, obviously. So take, getting rid of my threat. I'm still up a pawn. It's not the best pawn in the world, but I'm still better up a pawn here. I just got to grind the in-game down. If the rooks come off. Okay, let's gain a tempo here. Let's just play check. Queen takes. And then I'm going to get the rook in the open file. Oh, king takes, really? Huh. Let's close I always have the check, right? Let's close things off first. I do not want him to, I cannot let him open up this file. Let's just close things off. Oh, he's got this. And he's hitting this, but I'm protecting it, so I'll play king g7 there. I just got to make sure he doesn't get into these weakened light squares. I got to be really careful that he doesn't get into these light squares. So like if he could maneuver his queen, I've got some issues of my own for sure because I've got weak light squares here. Like g6 is chronically weak when I play g5. I've got some issues here I've got to worry about, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a really good, that's a good move, obviously, so. If I go queen e5, he takes, I take, but then he goes check. Yeah, and then I'm in big trouble. He's got a perpetual at the worst, if not better. Pawn up, take. I don't like that in game. I think throwing in the check first is better just to push his king away. For now. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to throw this in just to push his king away. The in-game is coming, so it's instructive just to push the king further away for the in-game. And now I've got a really clever move. I've got queen d6. If he takes the pawn, queen d2 check, king over, and mate. I sacrifice the queen, takes, and takes. That's a really cool move. I really like that one. Yeah. So if he takes, he loses. I checkmate him. So check. He's got to go there, and then I sack the queen. Rook checkmate. Ice skater Sakharov's back rank mate. So this pushing the king over first was instructive. So the pawn's poisoned now. He can't take it. And the next move I want to play is queen here. And I'm getting in, and then maybe rook here or rook here. Looks good. I've unwinded here. Okay, yeah, he goes here. So there's no mate now. It's smart. Why don't we just defend the pawn now, right? Slow and steady. Yeah. Let's just defend the pawn now. So his queen can't take because my rook's on it. So if he checks, I'm going to block. If he takes, I'm completely winning. He can't take, of course. So so we block. Of course he can't take. Fix my structure. Passer's winning up a pawn. So he's got to do something, and then I have time here. So I want to play queen d4. I want to play queen d4 and get in. I've got weak light squares, right? He's got weak dark squares here. So I want to play that. Oh, and he lets me? Cool. Well, if you're going to let me, dude, then sure. If you're going to, he's got low time. I'm going to play for his time here. If you're going to let me, no, do I have better? No. If you're going to let me, let's come in. Slow and steady, right? Wins the race. Queen d5, queen d4. Let's pre-move the recapture. If he takes, I'm winning. Completely winning. His king up slowly. Keep this pawn guarded. And then I could even play pawn in. And this pawn up one day. Yeah, and then I could play king f7, pawn up, he takes, and then king f6 and king f5 take it. Oh, really? Yes. So he wants to just play the in-game. Sure. Sure, sure, sure. But now I don't even want to play the in-game right now. I don't even want to play the in-game right now. I just want to mate him. So this looks really funky, really funny looking. Do I have better? Let's see. Rook d8. I've got time, so I might as well use it and slow down. Rook d8. Queen takes. Rook takes. No. Queen takes, rook takes, pawn c3. He wins the pawn back. Queen takes, rook, rook. I could play the in-game, like I said, and just try to win the in-game, which I should win, but I got to be a little precise there. Do I have better? No, I don't have better, I think. Because if I play rook d8, he just takes and plays pawn c3 and wins his pawn back. So to keep my pawn, I could play queen takes e3, rook takes e3, rook e5. And then probably he's going to play rook c4 and then go rook a4. And try to probe that way. But I've got a lot of stuff there, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's go for it. I don't see anything better. And then rook e5, of course. Defending the pawn. I want to play, my point is I want to play a quick f5. I'm expecting this maneuver. No, he plays this. Okay, I guess he wants this. Okay. So I can't play this now because he wants this. He wants f3 with the pin, and when my rook's undefended, I can't take back. Or can I? Actually, if I play here and he plays here, I take. I play here, he plays here, I take, he takes, I go. No, but then he takes here, clever. Yeah, so I can't play F there now. What I can do, slow and steady wins the race. King up, prepared first. This, I mean, so I'm up a pawn here. I'm winning, but I still got to prove it here. It's still a long game. Let's play king up. And then work up to this. Let's work up to f5. There's no this, right? Because en passant. So if he wants to unload it, he's going to have to play this way. Let's play here. Do I have better? Let's play here. In pre-move, king takes. I've got this route. This doesn't do anything. He can't come in. Pawns anchor him off. This doesn't do anything right now. The rook's doing a great job defending both key points. He should have played rook takes, rook c4, and rook a4. Would have been a much better try. This is better, much better for me. So I've got a connected passer here if I can get it going. This is just a step in the wrong direction. He doesn't know what he's doing here. He's giving me time. Cool. So because he's giving me time, I can. Oh, he's got a nasty trick. If I play here, he's got check, and I can't take because he takes. And then if I push, he's king's in the square. That's a pretty nasty check. So let's just stop him. I really like this move. Super prophylactic. I stop all his threats. Slow down. Breathe. I have the time. Let's stop all his threats. What should I do? Okay, let's take and stop his rook from coming here. He's getting a little desperate now. If rook there, I have both moves. Let's play a5 looks better for some reason. I don't know why. Let's play a5. Now I'm up 2 pawns. Yep, he goes there. And let's super sturdily, if that's a word. Here, I love it. Maybe this now. Okay. And let's go this way. So the rook stays on this pawn. So he's going to try to do everything he can to blow it up. Let's just take and win the endgame. Yes. In here. Boom. Rook does a great masterpiece job again of defending everything. 4 pawns to 2 pawns. I'm winning another one, so I'll be 3 pawns up, completely winning. Got to prove it in the endgame still. But doing a nice job now. How do I stop his... If I take, he wants to come in. I see that. Can I stop that? I can. Instead of taking, the pawn's going to fall no matter what. So, think of it this way. This pawn's a goner. It's dead to the world no matter what. The pawn's going to fall no matter what. What I can do is, I'm already up so much, I could play this and force liquidations and win. Just win the endgame. He doesn't have any checks. He can never come in, so why don't I just play this? What I'm going to do is, if he does something else, I'm going to... Oh, I'm an idiot. Oh my gosh. I just came off the pawn, you goofball. That was really stupid. Okay, there's my first blunder of the game. Just taking my eye off the ball, just inexplicably. Weird blunder. Inexplicably. I guess the pawn was hard to fold anyways, because if I had went for takes, he's going to come in. And I have to move the rook, and if I move the rook here, he wins this pawn. So the pawn was going to fall anyways. If I move the rook here, he takes it. The pawn was going to fall, but I could have done it in a better way. This pawn's still going to fall. I'm still going to be up 2 pawns here. So 3 pawns to 2, this pawn's fell. I'm going to have 3 pawns to 1 pawn. I've got an outside past a pawn right here, which he's got to babysit and monitor forever. And I'm going to have... does he want to play... That's a really good move. Probably a really frustrating move to see. I want to keep the pawn on the board, though. I don't want to just trade the pawn and let him get to some theoretical rook in game draw. But 2 pawns, like, he can't draw that with 2 pawns, right? If he can draw this, kudos to him. I mean, big time. I'm gonna have 2 passers, wide rim passers. H and A. This is completely winning. If he draws this, I don't know what to say. So, yeah, this is winning. Just win the endgame here. Running for a touchdown. A and H pawns. Textbook. And let's go here. And if he checks me, I'm going to block with my rook. And the rook does a beautiful, magnificent job on the 5th rank. Because it defends the A pawn still. He can't do anything here. So I have time, right? Actually, what I can do, I can just slow play this, right? Just here. If he ever comes here, I check and I win. Yeah, game over. Goodbye. Good game, GG. So that was a nice game. Let's look at the analysis. Nice win. Let's see this one. This was a nice, tournament game. Not a tournament game, of course, but it felt kind of like a tournament game. Just the style, the trickiness, especially in the opening, I'd like to look at. Points to consider and look at: the opening, and the transition from middle to end game, from the middle game to the end game. Let's see what we got right here first. He's looking at it too. Let's see. I've got 1 inaccuracy and 2 blunders. Pretty clean game. 91%. So I'd like to keep, not blunder, of course, but besides the blunders, clean. 5 inaccuracies, 4 mistake, and a blunder. So he plays this Jobava system. London. This is some gambit line that he plays. Yeah, I've seen this before. I think online on YouTube I've seen this a few times. Something like this. Was bishop g4 good? No, so bishop f5 was the best move, just holding the pawn. Okay, so food for thought, instructive in the future. Bishop f5 is the best move. Bishop here, knight ge2, he played the best move. He obviously knew his theory. E6, I played. See, I don't know the theory here. E6 isn't even a move. I don't know, but it's still an equal position. Knight takes e4, of course. He plays the second best move. They're both equal. H3 and knight takes h3. Knight takes e4 and h3, the two best moves. So equal evaluation, I should say. Bishop f5, g4. He plays the best move. This is all theory, or he's playing the best moves. Bishop g6. Bishop g2 is the best move. Like I said, putting immediate pressure here with the pin too. Here's where he went kind of wrong. It looked fancy. I said it was a good move, but it just didn't work out for him tactically. Knight f4 was a step in the wrong direction in accuracy. It looks good, but it's inaccurate. I was wrong, folks. The move I was saying was so good that I really liked. c5 was a blunder. It gives him a +1. It gives him a 1+1 or one pawn advantage. Man, I was going on and on about c5 being a good move too. I was just flat out wrong here. That's why you play games. That's why you play chess games, folks. That's why you look at the engine analysis too, folks, to gain the instructive knowledge out of the games. Words are hard today. Sorry. To gain the instructive knowledge out of the game. So pawn c5 was a blunder because of the best move, d5, the only move that is good. What was better? Knight c6, the other move I said was better. Yeah, putting immediate pressure here. It forces him to go back or pin. Probably go forward, pin. So that was better. c5, why? Because d5 he played. Well, he first played this, which is a mistake. Okay, d5 immediately was better. Knight c6, the best move. Yep. And pawn d5 still. It's equal now. I take. I'm curious. I think I played this portion really well, really accurately. Knight f takes is best. Wow. No, they're both equal. Okay, so knight c takes, bishop takes, knight f. They all lead to mass liquidation, so they're all pretty much equal. And again, bishop b7 pretty quickly. He played best move, and like I said, he played what I thought was the most challenging move. Knight takes e7, which they're all equal. The takes the two recaptures on f6 and the takes on e7, they all lead to mass liquidations. Like I said, so it's pick your poison. He plays what I think is the trickiest move. And now if he played h4, knight d5 is the best move. The computer says it's the most obvious move. He played knight d5. I was prepared to play queen e5. I think it's the best. Yes, queen e5, the only. So we're treading on thin water here. I'm proud of myself here. Yes, the only move that retains an equal position is queen e5. Everything else, and I'm busted and I'm lost. So we have to be very precise. I'm happy I saw this queen e5 move from afar. After here, I saw. And the reason why, for illustration purposes, queen e5 hits the knight. I'm getting out of the pin. So multi-purpose moves are the best moves in chess. I'm getting out of the pin. That's one good reason. I'm hitting the knight. That's a second good reason. I'm hitting the bishop. That's a third good reason. And I'm protecting the critical c7 square with the massive fork. That's a fourth good reason. And the fifth good reason is I'm hitting the pawn on b2, which is going to open up his king, which thereby will hit the bishop. So there's four good reasons right there. Queen e5 is a powerful move. That's the most instructive move in this game. I would like this to be the thumbnail, with doing everything, with coming out of the pin, hitting the knight, because now my knight isn't pinned, hitting his bishop and hitting b2. Powerful move, queen d5. So he didn't play that. He played h4, and queen e5 still was the move here. This is my second blunder I made. Queen e5 is still such a powerful move. Or rook d8 first. Queen e5 is still the most powerful move because if he plays pawn h5, which I didn't calculate, I was a little lazy, I can take his bishop. I take a piece. And yeah, he takes a piece. No, it doesn't work, right? I can't do that. I can't recapture. Oh, I can. Oh, what am I saying? So I'm missing a few things here. If he plays pawn h5, I take his bishop, which then his knight's weak. His knight's undefended at that point because the bishop was the only thing defending the knight. So I take his bishop. He takes my bishop, and I take his knight. And there's his pawn on g6 could take, check, but I just recapture or play pawn f8. So queen e5. Yeah, I'll just show it here. I take a piece, he takes a piece, I take a second piece because his bishop's no longer defending. There's no good checks. This doesn't. I just take this. I just take with the queen, with the king, right? Yeah. And the discoveries don't do much. I mean, he's got a few checks, but they shouldn't do much. Yeah, I could even go queen g6. I mean, I'm up a full piece here and a pawn. And my king yeah, it looks funky, but I'm not in trouble. I can concretely be safe with my queen and my knight so close and tempo's coming. I'm safe here. Cool observation. Okay. Queen e5 was still so powerful. I made my second blunder of the game. Well, rook d8. No. He played here. No, yeah, I played rook d8 first, which is the best move. I played the best move. Rook d8 first, queen e2, and okay, so it's not a mistake, but it's an inaccuracy. h6. What does it want? Just castle, and then here. Oh, and I get the massive. Yes, I'm hitting the queen, hitting the bishop, hitting c2. Man, I wish I would have seen that. And he can't stay on. I guess he can stay on everything. He's got to stay here to cover this. But then again, I get this. Yes. So the queen is overloaded here. Castle would have been a really elegant move. Like, just, I wish I would have played castle. It would have been super elegant, just allowing this, and boom. And the problem is I'm hitting his queen, I'm hitting his bishop, and I'm hitting c2. But fourthly, I'm hitting f3, which forks the king in the bishop. Talk about an octopus knight. This is an octopus knight on d6. So beautiful. I wish I would have calculated one step further. And his queen can't stay on the bishop, the pawn, and the square. It can stay on the bishop and the pawn by coming here, but it can't cover everything. And this is going to come no matter what. So yeah, that would have been beautiful. Knight d4, just castling. But if I castle, doesn't he just take first and then play? And then I play h6? Yeah, but I don't really want to allow this. I mean, it looks, I shouldn't say it looks scary. I just said that's not good to say, but like, I don't really, I didn't want to open up the H file. Food for thought, something to consider. Really interesting line there. Okay, see what I played. H6, which just forces mass liquidations. Takes. I was very happy to see takes. And I get this pawn structure. And then, again, I'm up a pawn. I have 7 pawns. He's got 6. Admittedly, yeah, he's going to make them ugly, which by playing the best move. So this wasn't the best, but yeah, I really made a big... No, I had the castle. I can't play knight d4. So castle get out. Now this is, yeah, bishop takes c6 is automatic here. You can't allow this. Octopus knight again. You just can't allow it. It's completely winning on the spot with that knight there. So takes, yeah, he damages my structure. It's not completely winning. It's like the computer says. It's minus 0.4. So I'm a pawn better, but I'm not a full +1 or -1 pawn better because he has comp in the form of my really weak doubled pawns, which isolates the A pawn. So it's not winning, but it's better. But with best play, I could probably hold a draw here in the rook end game. But it's tricky. The H5 was a really good move. I didn't see H5. That's a great move. It's the best move. It's a great move, just undermining the structure, which is a little advanced, a little far advanced in Tinder. I gotta play G5, right? Yeah. And then we'll take first, and then these squares become weak. So H5 carves out a hole on the light squares. I don't want to take and let rook take, so it carves out a hole. See, instructive. Okay. Rook there. I like the check first. Yep. F5. Queen d6, rook e8. All somewhat equal. I like the check first, just pushing his king back to c1, and then this. Cute. He can't take. He gets mated. Back rank mate. Just to play it out for you guys. Typical. So the pawn is poison. a nice indirect way to defend the pawn. And then when he plays the best move, b3, top move, I play rook e8, which is the best move. They're all equal, but so the computer says this position, even though I'm up a pawn, it's a dead draw because these pawns are really weak. But I think practically, with practical chances from a human point of view, black's got the better chances here, definitely. And also considering the time factor. So look at my opponent's time. My opponent's got 39.5 seconds left, and I've got basically 4 minutes. So considering the human factor of it and the time factor, I would disagree with this evaluation because it's not taking into account the time. Black's got significantly better chances here, especially with the time and with the human element of being up a pawn psychologically. So rook e8, yeah, this I was happy to see, and then this was the mistake. I'm happy to see I inch up again. Now he's just in trouble because now you can't. I mean, yeah, queen g. If queen g3 is the best move, I might have some attack here, you know, with queen in and rook, like queen, check. There's not, because king here and my queen's hit, but I could take here and maybe he can try some counterplay. Again, it gets messy, but I'm much for choice there. So this check, I think, was a little panic move, but I don't see much else. Okay, never mind. So it's the best move. So the check, but I don't see much else for him. Yeah, so actually queen a6 or queen a4 was better. Maybe something like this, right? This is covered by my queen. Something like this. Just brainstorming here. When he goes back, it lets me inch up, which is great for me. And then he follows it up with an inaccuracy. So best is just to keep instructive. This game was very instructive. A lot of key takeaways. Good. This is why I prefer to play rapid games over blitz. I like blitz. They're fun, but I prefer to play rapid for actual chess improvement purposes. Another key moment I took, which is my second blunder. Okay, so taking is it completely throws the game away. It's a draw. It's a just dead draw because just a sample line. He's going to play rook c4. Yep, rook c4. I'm going to play f5. He's going to take. I'm going to take. And he's going to get counterplay. Well, I can't even take now because I dropped the e-pawn like I did in the game. So f5 is the best move, but then king e2. No, okay, so here f5 takes. Yeah, I want to go. I could take on f5 or just king f7, the slow game. Now probably rook a4, right? Rook a4 at some point and just harassing the weak a-pawn. That's the problem when the pawns are split. They can't defend each other. So they're chronically weak. Yeah, something like this. And then I'm just going through lines. I don't know if these are the best. Just logical moves. Yeah, something. Still great chances for black, but something like this. Okay, low battery, so I got to wrap this up quick. So what happens? Yeah, this was a mistake. This is definitely a step in the wrong direction. He should go up or play up, not passively defending. In rooking games, you never want to be passively defending, especially if you're down a pawn. But key instructional purpose, I've played many rooking games. Let me charge my computer up. 1 second. Okay, so I was saying, and I spent a significant amount of time, maybe 3 or 4 months, passively, not like rigorously studying rooking games, but watching YouTube videos, reading excerpts from chess books, like studying rooking games, mastering the Lucina, the Fyodor, all the technical rooking games and practical games as well. Basically this. In rooking games, you always want to have the active rook, the active king. You would rather go down material. Like there's a famous Capablanca game where he goes down a few pawns to march his king up and get active, and his rook is active, his king is active, his pawns are active. He's creating mating threats. Down 2 pawns, down 3 pawns, or even down 4 in some positions. It doesn't matter. If you've got the active pieces, that's the only thing that matters in the rooking games in chess. Like Bobby Fischer famously said about activity, yada, yada, yada. Activity is key in rooking games. So he breaks this principle, which in principle is a bad move, and the computer backs it up and says it's a mistake. He goes back passively defending passively hitting a pawn, but you don't want to do that because now I could even play f5, but yeah, king f7, they're all pretty equal. I could slow play it, king e6. Now I'm just better if not winning, and this is the blunder. Wrong. Maybe he could try to hold this, with some rooking game, but yeah, this is a blunder because f5. And then that back again, just wasting time with no plan. Yeah, you can't do this. And this move would have been maybe not losing, but it would have been a blunder. Yeah, and maybe not losing because if I take, it's losing because then he takes. And I thought he can't go here or here, but like I said in the game, he can go here. He's protecting the queening square. So, but instead, if he checks, it just, again, leads to liquidations, right? I'm threatening to take, so if he takes, I'm going to take. And he's got to go here, and then I'm just going to proceed with my plans and win. I could even give him this, and I'm just going to take this and win, just like this. Something like this. His king is cut off. Yeah, this is an easy win. So, but he didn't do that. Let's look at the game. Wrap it up here. Yeah, g4 just stops this. Little prophylactic, still completely winning for black. Here was desperation. Takes a5, c5, super solid and sturdy. So now when he takes, I take with the c pawn toward the side of the board. Rook is opened up to defend the a pawn. Yeah, he's gonna get he's just gonna try to trade all the pawns off and hope and pray for some draw, but it's not gonna happen. Even if I blunder the pawn, it doesn't really matter. I shouldn't have blundered it, but it's not a blunder, as you can see. It doesn't matter. I'm already winning so much. Yeah, take two outside passers, a pawn running for a touchdown, completely unopposed, h pawn unopposed. Good night. Game over. GG. Completely winning with the two passers. Instructive chess game. Just look at the end here. If he does check me, I simply have this. I'm blocking. The rook is defending the pawn. I'm going to keep the pawn at a5 as long as possible, and I'm just going to shove and push the h pawn up the board to promotion. So it would look something like this. Just going to go over it. It would look there's nothing else he can do, really. I mean, there's this. Yeah, if he checks, I just hide behind the king, actually. There's nothing else he can do. He can try to sack the pawn is all he can do. It's completely winning with the passed and h pawns. So with that being said, I know this was a little bit of a longer game. Really good instructional long rapid game. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and more importantly, I hope you learned something new. I know I'm rambling a lot and talking fast. I'm going to try to slow down in future videos. I'm aware of that. I'm going to try to be conscious of that and slow down. But thank you for sticking around. The quality will get better. I promise you that. And I hope that you enjoyed it and took away some good pointers and chess tips from this game. All right. Hope that all of you guys have a good rest of your day. See you next time.